up, ladies and gentlemen? I am super excited to be here today. This is episode number 100 of the Comments for the Peanut Gallery podcast. I'm Jordan Kurtz, your host, with a very special guest, my man Josh Fremd. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well.
Thank you so much for taking the time, man. And especially, my man is special because it's his birthday, and he decided to join us here today. So thank you very much, Josh. I greatly appreciate it.
No problem. Appreciate you having this platform to put us out on, you know?
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm just going to adjust this on you just perfectly right there. Boom, we're rolling. So, Josh, you had an incredible 2020 as far as your last two fights go, which has just made your momentum be like a freight train on a runaway path going into 2021. How does that feel? And we talked about this a little bit the other night on the radio show, but to maybe expand on it a little bit, what does that mean to you coming into this year? You're in your first main event coming up on January 29th. How does that how does all that feel right now?
I guess if I had to put it in a word, I guess it would be vindicated, you know? Like, I was going through all those injuries throughout 2019, beginning of 2020, and there were times where I wasn't sure, you know, where it was going to lead to. Like, when am I going to be back? And then as soon as I was able to come back, Corona hit. So, you know, things started piling up, so I was never really sure. And then to be able to get blessed with those two opportunities, not just one, but two, to fight for LFA, when I know that there's people out there, you know, carving away, trying to get a fight anywhere. You know, I wanted to go out and perform. You know, I felt like I missed time, you know, when I was sitting on the shelf. So I had a lot of time to make up. So I wanted to go out there and, you know, put on a show, put on a performance, you know, make people remember, you know, because I feel like, I even talked to Mark, I feel like people forgot. You know, they forget when you're not doing what you say you were supposed to be doing. And it's more of a what have you done for me lately type of society. So, vindicated, you know, I was able to go out and show people like, hey, I'm here. You know, I haven't went anywhere. Yeah, I was injured, but I was in the gym every single day, whether I was, you know, told to be or not, you know. And that's one thing about me I feel like sticks out is, you don't have to tell me, you don't have to motivate me, you don't have to say, hey, you have to come do this extra. Like, I'm just ready for it. Like, I'm always prepared to do extra work. I'm always prepared. I'm more intrinsically motivated than anything.
Absolutely, man. And, I mean, all of that work that you did in the dark definitely came to shine in the light, because your name will forever be etched in history now as far as the LFA record books go. You were the 2020 Male Fighter of the Year. I mean, that has to be a huge resume booster as it comes to trying to punch that ticket to the dance.
Oh yeah, that's huge. And, you know, I haven't really been able to grasp, you know, when people say that it's a big thing, it's a big resume booster, because to me personally, like, I know it's a great award, everyone's excited, but like, to me, that's not anything. Like, I'm not done yet. You know, like, I would love to get the LFA belt. You know, if the opportunity arises, I would love to get the call, you know, to the UFC if that arises. But, you know, that's a nice little, put that on my shelf. That's cool. But, like, that's not the main goal, you know.
Oh, totally. It's just, I mean, I feel like for everybody out there who's been following you along, and for you know, for us who knew how you were dealing with, you know, you had to deal with all the adversity outside, you know, with the injuries and everything. So to see that vindication, perfect word for it, man, to see that happen for you, it made me feel good, because, I mean, you can't be a better teammate than you are, especially the way that all of your teammates on the awards night and during the day of the symposium kind of spoke to you, especially during lockdown. It was like, fuck, it sounded like all I saw was Josh's face. Like, Brandon Roybal even said, you know, like, felt like I was just grappling with Josh every single day, and I was like, God, this big motherfucker's just all over me every single day. So I feel like for everybody who is watching you closely or supports you within this tight circle, that was awesome to see you get recognition for.
Yeah, that was to have Brandon speak, like at least just bring me up in his speech, that was amazing. You know, he kind of hides the fact that he was kicking my butt when I came back. Like, he's so good on the ground. It doesn't matter how small he is. Like, he's just amazing. But you know, to hear him mention my name and Dustin Jacoby mention my name, like those are the guys that, you know, when I came back from my surgery, like Scotty Miller, like were like, hey, come here, like come to the gym, come do this. Like, they were pushing for me to hurry up and get back, and as was I, you know. Like, so to be able to come in and work with the likes of those guys, you know, like, that's amazing for me. I was so proud of it, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Real quick, since we didn't add it right away, where can people follow you?
You can follow me at Josh Fremd MMA on Instagram, and then at Josh Fremd on Twitter.
Awesome. And your fight can be watched at
UFC Fight Pass, 29th at 7 p.m.
Perfect. So make sure we take care of the business.
Got the business down.
Yes, sir. We got the business end taken care of. So, Josh, we talked a little bit about this the other night on the radio shoot, the radio show as well. But one of the things that really stood out to me, and both to Ron Kruk as well, when we were done with the interview, was, man, what a great teammate. Because you said, hopefully I get a flight back early after my big fight on Friday night so I could be back in Colorado to drive up to Wyoming and watch my teammates.
Yeah.
And we thought, man, like, that's a wholehearted team person right there. Like, that's a good teammate.
You know, well, thankfully it's not a hope, because, you know, LFA has us sent back the very next day. Like, I remember my last fight, we were at the airport like 7 in the morning. Won't be that early this time, but I think we'll be back around 2 or 3, giving us enough time to, you know, because I missed the last time they had all those Sparta fights up there, and it looked like such a fun time, and I was like, you know, I'm not going to miss the next one no matter what. Like, so I don't care if I go out there and I lose, like they get knocked out, whatever. I'm going to come home, I'm going to drive up there, and I'm going to support them, because, you know, they're in here just like I am. They're putting in the work, they're in the trenches. Like, you got to support your team when they're doing the same thing, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the secondary part of which that
no, I don't believe that's going to happen.
Not at all. I mean, I honestly feel like, bro, this is it's just a matter of time right now. Mm-hmm. It really is just a matter of time, and you know, a big win in a main event spot, like the phone is picking up. Like, the phone is picking up, and you just got to be ready for, you know, ready to answer it at that point.
Yeah,
because I feel like when you're looking at a lot of the lists, or at least someone who's entrenched into the media side and reads the articles, follows, you know, what Junkie's saying, what the Scrap, or what MMAfighting.com, Bloody Elbow, BJPenn.com, all these different sites that are putting out the lists of guys to be on the lookout for this year. You were on basically every single list. So I don't know, man. Like, you're buzzing.
I mean, yeah, like it's cool to hear all that, you know, and I don't want to like downplay any of it, but you know, even when I was winning, you know, back in Pittsburgh, when I was, you know, starting out my pro career, like I wasn't written about then, you know, so like it's cool now, you know. There's a little bit of hype, whatever, but that I still have so much more to prove, you know. Like, cool, put me out there. They just weren't talking about me like that a couple years ago, and I know that's how it goes, but for me, like, I felt like I was on my way back then too. Here, it just solidified it, because I have much better training partners, much better structure, like, so everything, all of the right moves were made for that run to be made, you know. So I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. I mean, and you have every reason to be excited on that front. Josh, so what I want to ask you about now is, are you going to continue with that same walkout song? Does that change? No. That's always going to be the same?
Yeah. So I always like to bring it back to my roots, really, because when I first got into MMA, my teammate Chris Dempsey, when he would, I remember the song. I know last time I tried to remember, I couldn't. It's Bad Company by Five Finger Death Punch, and that was his walkout song every single time. And it was crazy because in Pittsburgh we had this place called Stage AE, which is right next to Heinz Field, and it's a great big concert place. I went there all the time to have concerts, and the place would just explode when the guitar started, you know. And he was just synonymous. Like, you hear Bad Company, that's Chris Dempsey. And I wanted, my personality to come out in the song that I choose, and yes. And, like, of course, throughout camps, I have different songs that I want to play or, like, I'll string along and I listen to more. But when it comes down to it, like, when you hear the intro to Ambitions as a Rider, like, I want you to think, oh shit, Josh is getting ready to fight. Let's go, huddle up, like, let's go, like, grab beer, let's go watch it,
Hell yeah, man. That's what I try to tie in so many different lines from, like, the songs. There's some different Tupac quotes the other night when we were on the radio.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're picking through you had, and they were stuff that you had posted.
Yeah.
But, I'm picking the lock coming through blasting, and then, of course, you're on that meal ticket mission.
Yes. I made that little comment, picking the door, coming through the door blasting, because, like, that little article they put, like, 5 fighters who were, like, on the doorstep. That's cool. Like, I'm on the doorstep, but, like, I'm not here knocking on. I don't want to ask anymore. Like, I want to go out and I want to show, and I need to prove that I belong on the next level. It's one thing to say I belong. It's one thing to, have a social media, oh, I belong. But what it comes down to is those 15, 25 minutes in the cage where you got to prove that. And that is the moment that I'm waiting for. That's the moment I'm excited for.
Definitely, man. Then, so ladies and gentlemen who may only be listening on the audio side, if you haven't seen Josh fight, or if you haven't seen any pictures or anything like that, know that this man checks a lot of boxes. I mean, as you're listening to him speak right now, he's a very well-spoken individual. He's intelligent with his fight IQ. You're well-rounded with your game, and being fast, explosive, and long for your division. All of those things just are just a check in the positive, as you're going down the list. That I just feel like I say, man, I feel it coming for you. And I know that you're not trying to get too wrapped up into too much of it, but I gotta hype you up, bro.
No, I appreciate that. And, like, even when I was on Twitter the other day, I was, like, reading little old retweets of when Bryson Tiller dropped his first song, and he was saying something along the lines like, you have a feeling, when it's close or when things are about to break through, and that is when you need to push on the gas harder. That's when you need to not let up and not ease up. And, like, I don't look past this guy. I don't look past this thing, this fight, this promotion, anything. So I made sure that leading up to this, I pressed even harder. The times that I didn't want to train, I'm there. The times that, that I would just take off, if I'm not in camp, or if I'd made sure I put the miles in. The road work was huge this time. Like, I'm going to be prepared in all facets, and I want to press on the gas because I want to break through that door. Like, I do. It's just, I want to prove it, though. I don't want to be all words.
Definitely. So for those who don't know, because most people are accustomed to hearing or seeing main events be 5 rounds, is yours, being that it's not a title fight, are you going 3 or 5?
3.
3,
yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, a lot of different promotions will do them differently for their main events, but I actually didn't know that either. And so I was thinking, like, shit, I can't remember if Josh is going 5 or if he's going 3 with it being an LFA main event, because a lot of their main events throughout this last year, they had a lot of title vacancies.
Yeah, they did.
So there was a lot of title fights, and they only had, I think it was either 16 or 17 shows during 2020, so those title
majority
fights
of those were title, yeah.
So it had just been a long time since I had paid attention to, this is only a 3 round. Because I remember back to when Yusuf fought in the main event, and his was only a 3.
Yeah.
But I was just like, man, did they make a change? Like, been doing this for so long, stuff just runs into it sometimes,
I would have loved it to be a 5-round fight, just because that's just more time to work, more time to fight. But 3 rounds is what I got, and that's what I'm going to work with,
I think it's, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one out there. I don't think you're going to need all 3.
I don't think so either, but I'm prepared to go all 3.
Definitely a good position to be on that, or a good approach for it, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk camp just a little bit. How's that going?
Oh, amazing. This has been, since I moved out here, the first, because my last 2 fights are real short notice fights, really. I had them in like 2-3 weeks notice, and I just went. The first one was 205, so I didn't have to cut any weight. The next one going back down to 185, which was the easiest cut of my life, honestly. And I think taking that time with my injuries, looking back for the good, taking that time off from cutting weight to 185 really paid a dividends because, I was never cutting 100% correctly. I used to always eat a salt during the day that I was cutting. Didn't know that wasn't good. So learning and growing from that, I guess that's a blessing. But the camp for this one, my weight's low. I'm staying low. I've told Mark this 100 times. Like, I'm going to stay low as long as I'm fighting because I want to be ready, So it's never a problem of if I'm out of shape, never a problem with my weight. I'm just here living the lifestyle that I've always wanted to live, fighting, training, eating good food, living in a beautiful state. Like, I can't hate it, I love it. So this camp's going really good.
Is anybody taking care of your meal prep and nutrition or anything?
Yes. Thanks to Iridium Sports for hooking me up with Evolve. They've been sending me out meals every week, and it's been, oh my goodness, it's been so amazing to have them. It's been very helpful because, not now, but every Sunday I was watching the Steelers for the longest time. So I didn't really want to meal prep. I didn't really want to take that time. So having Evolve come in and help me out with that has been tremendously helpful.
That was a little bit of a heartbreaker last weekend, huh?
You know what? It gotta go through it to get to it, Like,
Yep.
It's one of those things, man. That's the way she goes, And it was a heartbreaker, and I felt like we had a chance all the way up until that very last interception, because it's always like, I was like when I was in college, like, I'll pick my grades up towards the end of the semester when it's like absolutely necessary. But now I'll have fun. I'll flip the switch. I always thought the Steelers just, flip the switch, you'll be fine, and they never did. So heartbreaker, but that's the way she goes.
Especially with who it was against, though, too. I feel like that had to have been a little bit of an extra dagger.
Oh yeah,
being that that's a division rival, a big time. There's animosity obviously between those two clubs. Yeah.
I only like MGK and Devontae Smith from Cleveland. Everyone else can go away. I have so many friends from college who we have group chats going on, and a couple of them are Browns fans, and like they're finally getting their turn, so I gotta take it, because when the tables turn back around, you can be sure I'm dishing it out.
Waving that terrible towel left and right.
Oh yeah,
I can only imagine. Now that also, we would chat back and forth during the game sometimes this season and be like, bro, somebody just needs to grab Juju and just either whoop his ass before the game and, like, listen, don't go out on that goddamn logo.
Mm-hmm.
Or something.
I never really had a problem with the logo because if you remember in the beginning of the season, most of it was at home. Like, most of the games were in Pittsburgh. So for the most of the time, he was dancing on his own logo. I never found it disrespectful in a sense of like, dancing on the other team's logo. I feel like if it was during the game or, if he would have done something disrespectful after the game or something like that. But I think people made a big deal of a TikTok when they should have made a big deal about the offensive coordinator or the running game, because where was that? Never there, and
let me flip this around.
All right.
If that were Odell coming and doing that on the Steelers logo, do you think the Steelers would feel some type of way about it?
I can't speak for other people, so in my assumption, maybe, yeah, because being a competitor, that's probably what you would take that as, yeah. But as a fan from the outside, if it wasn't anything degrading, I don't think I would have taken too much. It doesn't take a lot it takes a lot to offend me, I guess, in certain things, so... Yeah. That never bothered me. If that were to happen, it wouldn't bother me, but I can't speak for them. They probably would take it offensively.
I was going to say, I didn't know if it was one of those that, he's fine. Like, it's easy to say sometimes when it's your guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true.
And especially just knowing in football, like the logo is kind of, held as like the sacred spot on the field, whatever. And then you have some guy who's wearing, enemy colors is coming over there and he's dancing on it. He's doing his TikTok thing and kind of making a spectacle out of the situation. Because, Corvette with his little, chop.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Like, if you're going to do that, you got to back it up.
Oh, you got a ball.
You got a ball. And there's been times where, he balled, And there's times where he got rocked, you know? So you live by the sword, you died by the sword.
Yeah.
And I don't think he should have stopped. Honestly, I wish he wouldn't have. I wish he would have just, stuck with it the rest of the season just to make a point. But I hope we get him back. I really do, because he's a free agent after this year. And, I think he's really good. I think he's still young. Obviously, he's a kid. So I think we should take him back.
The Juju Bees are real. Like, I didn't realize how much of a, fellowship that he has. Like, he has, and I feel like a lot of these people who are big fans of Juju aren't even necessarily football fans.
No, they're more of his just
TikTok
personality.
Fans. Exactly, yeah. And those people go absolutely buck wild online when any of the Juju headlines come. It is insane.
Oh, I bet.
They were talking about it on the Pat McAfee show the other day about how someone made a comment about Juju, and there was it was almost when when Queen Bee, when Beyonce had the lemonade stuff, and everybody was just coming out in droves and just lighting up every chat forum out there. He said that's what it was like with the Juju Bees, just absolutely insane following that you really don't see a whole ton of that in football.
No, because he's a younger kid. He appeals to the younger audience, and being in TikTok. I mean, I don't have TikTok. I don't know anything about his following. I know he has a big social media following, but I mean, that's what you need. I mean, you saw they tried to get it to Nickelodeon. They had it on the Nickelodeon station the other day.
That's actually cool.
That was kind of cool. Kind of trippy. Kind of cool. It was good
I
nostalgia.
Had a couple vitamins in the system, so
Same.
felt
So
right.
it was nostalgic. I liked it for that. I don't want to see it consistently. Make it a tradition once a year. That's fine, but don't you don't want to overdo it.
I totally get you there. I just hey, it was a fun little alternative way to see things. The slime blasters in the end zone, SpongeBob's fat face in the uprights.
That one was
just
cool.
Some cool stuff.
Yeah, when I heard it on I love to listen to a lot of Barstool stuff, but they were saying that they were gonna have slime in the end zone, and in my mind, driving to practice, there's no way that they're gonna slime these guys in real life, are they? And then when I saw that it was digital, I was like, kind of cool. Not as cool as if they actually slime the dudes.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree, but then Sean Payton did get really slimed, and there were some people on the internet who were not happy about those Jordan 11s that he had on getting slimed on. They're like, you're gonna slime the Concords? Folks, calm down. I'm sure that Sean Payton has an entire closet full of Concords.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine.
Being that he is the only coach who's ever had a deal the way that he does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that alone is as a Jordan Brand fan, how cool would that be? I'm a coach and I'm so saucy. The biggest sports apparel brand out there wants to sponsor me and get me fitted up for every single weekend.
That's a pleasure to have right there, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Chase Claypool got signed to Jordan too.
He did. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
That's just a big move. I mean, I feel like all those guys from when the Jordan team kind of blew up when we were kids and when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a part of the Breakfast Club, Jordan's fan club, that they would send out the monthly updates and all the exclusive content, or I would get early preference for special release stuff.
Special
back
drops,
in the day.
yeah.
And it was cool just to see oh man, who might be added to the team?
Who's next?
Who could be someone that gets brought into the fold. And for a long time, I mean, obviously it was mostly basketball guys, but there were only a few football players.
Only a few.
But some of the cleats were just so sick.
So sick, dude. And even the gloves that they came out with, when DeAndre Hopkins had that game winner, you can't market anything any better, The dude just literally mossed everyone. It was crazy. And to just get that perfect picture of his hands clean with those Jordan gloves.
Yep.
And there's 6 hands around. It was crazy.
Funny that you mentioned that name though, in Randy Moss, because who was one of the
OGs?
Team,
yeah.
The Super Freak shoes, those cross trainers that had the zip ups and everything. Those were a hot ticket shoe back then, especially because there weren't a lot of purple shoes that were made back then, or not a lot of shoes that included purple.
Yeah.
And that was one of the few that did. So I don't know. I always thought that it was cool, how they would cater to they would cater colorways for some of those signature shoes to that player and who they played for.
Yeah.
So it just gave you a little bit of a difference in the palette, because traditionally, like, you know, old school Jordan, they were all Bulls colorways for the most part. They were always, you know, red, black, white, or some sort of variation of that. And then once he went to the Wizards, then there was some blues and some silvers and all of that in the fold. But you never got a lot of greens or a lot of those colors in the original OG colorways. But then when they started coming out with the Team Jordan shoes or the stuff like the Super Freaks, or then he signed Roy Jones Jr. for a while, and there was Jordan boxing shoes, and Jordan cross trainers like that. Like, I don't know. That's just me nerding out as a
no. That's
big
awesome.
Sneaker.
I loved watching you do that, because like me personally, I'm not a huge sneakerhead. I enjoy it, you know. Like my one buddy from college is a huge sneakerhead, and like I understand the thrill of it. I just never got into it. So to see you like go off into that tangent, I was like, all right, that's pretty awesome. Like you like it that much.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Dude, I used to love shoes so much. Like, I mean, I would go to the releases like Saturday mornings. Like, I've seen people like, Josh, you want to talk about some real ass whoopings? Like, I have seen
could
some
imagine,
people
dude.
get their ass whooped at some of these shoe releases. Like, especially someone goes and cuts the line or something like that. Like, oh no, like
I could only imagine.
it would be bad. I mean, and unfortunately to say, I've also seen some people get jumped for their shoes that they just walked out of the store buying, and that person out there in the parking lot that's lurking that knew that the mall was only open this hour early from when the rest of the business is done for those people coming in and getting the shoe release. And so they see you coming out with a bag. They know that there was one store that you were in, or you know, one of two stores that you were in. You were in like Champs or Finish Line, Foot Locker, whatever one of those shoes were. And if you're coming out with a bag prior to the rest of the mall opening,
you were a mark.
Yeah, you were 100% a mark.
Oh yeah, I can understand that. You know, I've heard of things like that. I've never, because I've never been to release, I've never seen it, but I've heard of like a lot of stories of people getting jumped for their shoes.
Yeah,
it's a good thing I grew up broke, because I didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, it was one of those things that, you know, you just hustle. So and you made it happen. Or then there would be a ton of times where guys would go in, they would get their shoe, but then they'd come out, and actually Augie and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago at the symposium, but how someone would go in, all right, I got the 9.5, and that retailed for, you know, for $160, all right, $320, just going out and flipping it for like double right away out in the parking lot.
100%. That's called a hustle, and that works. That's.
I've also seen a guy coming out doing that get snuck from the side.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be smart about it. You can't be, you know, acting stupid about it.
No.
You can't just walking out to a parking lot like, oh hey, no. First off, be smart. Take a picture, put it online.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
And some of this though, like, you have to remember though that this was prior to online.
This
like,
is true. Yeah, forgot about that.
For a lot of when I was like, the last sneaker release I went to was the day. It was right after the Aurora Mall shooting.
Okay.
And it was when the Jordan Olympic 7s had gotten re-released. It was an Olympic year that year. I think that was 2012. Yeah, 2012. So I'm pretty sure they were in Paris. I think that was the Paris Olympics. But the Aurora Mall, because of the shooting, was the only store left, or was the only place left in the country that had these shoes, because they pushed the release back. The whole mall was closed on that weekend, and then they had the release that Monday. And so once that release happened, bro, there were people that flew in from all around the country trying to get these shoes from the two stores that were in the Aurora Mall that had them, but they each only got one single size run.
Oh, okay.
So, there was a lot of people who left empty-handed. But yeah, you want to talk about some just straight-up shenanigans? Because in order, like, for, you know, I'm sure you've seen, like, when there's a big release for anything, there's always, like, the cow lines that get set up outside, and you know, but you have to have a permit for most of those things.
Yeah.
But because that happened over a weekend, they didn't have the ability to get a new permit to have all, like, the lines for people set back up, so it was just pure chaos and pandemonium in the parking lot.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, like people like making a mad dash, like security kicking people off the grounds, and a mad dash for people running toward the door when they thought they were going to open them again. Pure madness. But I think back to some of those times, and like, man, like that was some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, now I guess it'd be a lot more dangerous. People really ain't gotten too much to lose. But the most like pandemonium that I can ever imagine when shopping would probably be like Black Friday when I was a kid, going with my grandma and seeing like old people argue over stuff and like fist fight in the store. But like that's about it. About the most pandemonium I've ever seen shopping.
How hypocritical is that, man? Like Black Friday, people going out swinging on each other for a blender when right the day after you're supposed to be grateful for all the things that you had.
It blows my mind, dude. It just really amazes you to see how, I don't want to say stupid, but just how crazy humans are. Like, I could go on for days about my thoughts on humans in general, but just, yeah, it's a very weird, cynical thing, I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
Do we know if that's going to happen? Nah. But we can hope.
We can hope.
That's what makes life fun. You just got to hope.
Exactly. And one way or the other, I mean, we got to live our life, you know? Like,
yeah.
If you live in perpetual fear, I feel like you're never going to accomplish anything. Nothing is ever going to happen.
No, you can't be scared to do stuff, you know. The White House can be burning. You still got life to live because it hasn't really affected you just yet, you know. There isn't no precautions that you have to take right away, you know. So you just got to live your life, keep doing what you got to do.
Definitely. So, Josh, is there anybody that you want to shout out? Any sponsors, management, teammates, people outside of all of that you want to show some love to?
Yeah, real quick, I would love to throw out my sponsors. Eddie Holmes, just appreciate you guys for everything that you do for me and allowing me to chase this dream. Habitual Vape Skate Shop, thank you. My man Cody, appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. And then just everyone here at Factory X, like you, Mark, DJ, Cody, everyone that I train with, even if I don't train with you because you're small, like you still play a big role in this, you know. So I never really went too deep into thanking everyone when I got my little award because I was kind of thrown off. I wasn't even expecting that, and but no, I'm really appreciative of how I was able to, you know, move here and assimilate to everything here, and everyone's been so welcoming. You know, I've said in a lot of my interviews that I've done this week is that this place, it makes a huge difference, you know, skill-wise, your mental fortitude, you know, having a team that wants you to do better and you're not there just to be a dummy to beat up on, because I've seen people go to gyms and different places and, you know, I stand my ground, so I'm not going to be anyone's punching bag, but I've seen people go and be punching bags and they're not in the right environment and they fizzle out or they lose their love for the game. So I'm very blessed to say that I've gotten in a place where I think I can thrive. You know, I believe I can thrive. It's showing that I can thrive here, and you know, the Factory X, Mark Montoya, Iridium Sports, like that is just a combination for success. You know, if you have the right work ethic, the right mentality, like it's gonna work. You know, I mean, look at Ian Heinisch, it worked.
Yep.
DJ, it worked. Like it works.
Yep.
You know, so
absolutely, man.
I'm just blessed. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now you mentioned the environment here, and so you know, would you say that you just feel like it's a special culture within these walls?
The culture here is amazing. You know, they want you to do well. You know, even if someone, all right, say beats the crap out of you for a whole round or 2 whole rounds, afterwards, no ego. We talk about it. We sit down. What was done wrong? What can be fixed next time? And you know, they're going to be hip to it next time, so now you got to do that but learn something else. Like, it's a very competitive environment, but there's no egos, and that's the thing that is the best. Like, because if you have an ego, it's going to get checked so fast, you know. And just to be able to everyone coexist and push each other to be better, you can't ask for a better environment.
Oh yeah. And as a whole, you know, I just have to piggyback onto that and thank the Montoya family, because they've created a house for all of us, for lack of a better term, misfits.
Yes.
Who, you know, everybody who comes in to a martial arts gym or you know, wants to be involved in the fight world, like, you've got a couple of screws that are maybe not tightened all the way they should be.
You can't be. I don't think you can be a fully rational functioning human and do this. Like, there has to be something in you that, and there's people who fake it. There's people who try and fake it, and then they learn real quick that, all right, it's not worth it. I don't like getting punched in the face. I don't like getting beat up. But, like, it's not about that, So if you're a functioning, rational human being, you're probably not going to work. It's not going to work out. But if you got a couple screws loose, hey, you can make a lot of money. You can have a great life.
Yep.
If you're willing to, suffer. And that's what I always say. You have to be willing to suffer.
Absolutely. You got to understand your situation is not your destination, right?
Amen.
Shout out to Cortez Coleman, the crazy cowboy. I mean, so quotable. Like that.
That's
you got to go through it to get to it. And then kind of tying off of what you said there too, was something that Dustin always says. And I feel like that's been something that you haven't ever like said the quote itself that I've seen, but your performance or the way that you approach this speaks exactly to Dustin Jacoby's philosophy of you got to have short-term memory with bulletproof confidence. I feel like that sums up, okay, you dealt with some adversity. That's already gone. That's behind me. It's what is now. Like, what's right here in front of me. And, okay, there's an opportunity. I'm kicking through the door blasting.
Hell yeah. And, and it's been so amazing to get here. And, like, I probably say way too much on all my interviews and everything, but I'm so thankful that I met Dustin Jacoby because his mentality, I'm the farthest thing from a country boy. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, he's country boy through and through. But, I've always vibed with people like that. One of my best friends from back home is a hick from West Virginia, down in Morgantown. So I just vibe with, we have the same mentality.
It came out there a little bit.
It did. I heard it. I heard it.
Down there. Yes, I love it.
But, like, just, it's the blue-collar, tough, gritty mentality. Like, I know I might look like a frat boy, but, like, I've never been associated with anything like that. I've just always put my nose to the grindstone and I've just grinded and I've worked hard. I've never been the fastest, the strongest, or any of that in any sport I've played. But my work ethic is what, I like to believe that sets me apart. And being associated with someone like Dustin Jacoby, who is the same exact way, just a little bit more country than I am, it's amazing. It's amazing to see the accolades that he's accomplished, and he's pushing me to be better, and I just love that. I'm so thankful for it.
Oh yeah. I think that someone like him who is at that high level, who has been so well traveled the way that he has, is 100% a major benefit for someone like you who's young and on the rise and coming up, because not only are you getting to train with someone who is of that caliber, but he also can share, and Dustin's not one of those guys who closes himself off. He's open about sharing his wisdom. He'll be the first one to say it, that he's found failure in every major organization, but he's also figured out ways to turn that into success.
Yeah.
And so him just maybe sharing some of those tales of his travels and of his tribulations, I'm sure has to help all of you younger guys that are coming up.
Oh yeah. It does, and he spits his knowledge to me, to Cody, Austin, all of us. Like, it's very, if you're willing to listen, I always think, like, because I'm a very quiet guy, I don't really talk too much, and I'm more of a listener. And I always think that if you're willing to listen more than you are to talk, then you're gonna find success somehow. Because how I even started in this is, like, I listened to other people's failures. I listened to how they did it. All right, well, how can I not end up in that position, Or how can I see that position and maybe make a left turn here, whereas other people went right,
Absolutely. Josh, we've talked a lot about fight goals and what you see potentially going forward. What are a goal or two that you have for this year in 2021 outside of fighting?
Ooh, outside of fighting. Outside of fighting, that is going to be directly related to fighting. I'm going to get out of debt this year. Okay. I'm going to get out of my credit card debt. I don't have a lot. I busted up my butt to get it down. I'm going to get that done. And I'm going to get a house.
Hell
Me and my girl, we're looking for a house. So hopefully, within the next year, outside of the gym, life wise, we can make another step there.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing for your entire financial well-being for the rest of your life that you're trying to accomplish. And, in your mid-20s, having that goal and, being dialed in to tackle that, I feel like that's ahead of where most people are at that age. Some people are just still too busy.
Just throwing it. Hey, if you got it, go ahead. What's that song I listen to? I'm just trying to get paid by the songs I sing off stage. But I guess if you're already paid, then I guess you got it made. Some of us, we don't got it made like that. Some of us, we weren't in that life, and that's fine. That's okay. And they were. That's fine. You just gotta grind to get it. And I'm gonna get it. One day I'll be doing that. Maybe not. That. But I'll have it. I'll have it one day. I'm not worried.
Who's been some of your influences on that sort of topic?
Finances?
Mm-hmm.
James Krause. Since moving here, I'll tell you the truth, I've never talked to anyone about finances ever. Because I've never really had a problem with it. Like, I know I have my student loans, and I have, one credit card that I have, but, I try and live in my means. My grandma, I guess that's my grandma. My grandma has always taught me to live within my means. I'm not a flashy person. I'm not going to go out and buy a bunch of name brand stuff. Maybe eventually when I'm in the UFC, I'll get a really nice car. That's probably about it. You're not going to see me flashy and anything. That's just how I am, So definitely my grandma. And then as far as what to do with my money eventually, it would be James Krause, and just seeing, different things that I should eventually, get into with diversifying my portfolio, investing and whatnot.
Definitely. I was just curious if Chris Nizzle was one of them, because I learned so much from James on that side of things. He sat there in that chair and went on a 10-minute Gary Vee style rant about finance, just last year. So I've tried to be like a sponge anytime that he talks or anytime he shares something, and just try to absorb as much knowledge
as you
I possibly can.
See which way you can make it work for you. He's a very smart guy. And then again, if you're willing to listen, information is there.
Absolutely. And I will even add to that everything that I've followed from his just general recommendations or things to look into has done well.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, I feel like his track record is proven at this point.
Yeah.
Just one of the most intelligent beings in all of the fight game, I feel like. So shout out to the James Krause for being a leader, just to all of us, for taking the time of the day to respond back to that. Sometimes he'll put up some financial concept or something up, or some fundamental process, and I'll ask him about it, and he'll answer back. He'll tell me, okay, this is why I think this, or no, I'm not in this because of this, or something to that effect. Just asking questions. And I'm extremely grateful for my own personal situation to have someone like him who understands the way that we think. Because like you mentioned, we all have a little bit of a screw loose, but someone who can relate to that sort of mindset and to relate to the way that our brain processes information.
Mm-hmm.
It probably could come from a different source, the same exact words verbatim, but I wouldn't retain it as much.
Yeah.
It wouldn't mean as much to me personally, but it's a trust thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I trust James.
Yeah, he has a great track record. Like you said, it's good to see someone who has that same mentality as us, or once had it. I'm not saying you're old, James. I'm just saying you're older than us. So he's been there, done that. So he has that information to share. So it's just great to have that as a resource.
Absolutely. Now, when you're talking about investments and whatnot, any heaters that we can take a look at?
No, I will not lead anyone astray. My knowledge in that department is not the greatest for me to put any type of information out just yet. So I'm going to stay in my lane, and I'm still learning.
Totally understandable, and that's fair. I feel like, though, once again, that's a symbol of your maturity already within this stage, though, because if you don't know, then I feel like it takes a big person to say, hey man, I'm not gonna put my stamp on that. Like I just don't know enough of it. Like I'm gonna do what I can for myself, but I'm not gonna roll the dice for someone else.
Right? Yeah. Because what am I gonna look like giving you false information? You bank on it and go lose a bunch of money. Now I look like an idiot. Don't want to do that.
Welcome to my world with sports gambling every weekend, buddy.
You know, if you do have a heater, I do have one heater. Bet the Chiefs. That's all I'm gonna say.
Imagine that, the Chiefs over the Browns. But yeah, no, I mean, just whether it's that stuff with sports or just like with fight picks and all of that. Like, some people want to hold your feet to the fire for a pick that you made, and I've always said all the way along, with all my endeavors with DenverSportsBetting.com, in that it's never going to be 100%. Like especially in the fight game, like
anything could happen.
I pick at a high clip. Like, don't get me wrong, I pick at a very high percentage. But to be, where like some people call themselves handicappers, to where they're picking at these insane ratios.
Yeah.
I don't pick at the like 80+%. But then again, if you are like, I question one, what is the true validity of your pick percentage? But then two, like I don't know, like to pick at that high of a percentage, Josh, like it's almost unheard of.
Yeah.
This year, just for example, NFL experts were, I believe they were in the 50% range, like most.
Okay.
A few years back, I picked on straight up money line pick'ems. I was in a pick'em league, this big league that I met some people down in Mexico that we talked football for a while, and they're like, hey, do you want to join this pick'em league? And I ended up winning the whole thing. And it was like a weekly thing, and then like there was a portion of the sum that got put into a monthly pot, or excuse me, a season-long pot. And I just crushed it that entire year, and I picked at 69 and change. Whereas that year, the majority of the experts were in the low 60s, were at like 62, 63%. So it was like, hey, man, like, if only I was playing for a lot more money than just what that little pick was. But I don't know, it's the give and take with it. I mean, I've made a lot of money on sports gambling. I've also lost
a lot. Yep.
I haven't lost a lot of money. Have I lost? Yes. I have lost.
Yes.
Thanks, Yusuf. Not sure.
Dude, I've gotten into sports gambling big in these past, I want to say 2 years, I guess. And was the one fight that made me a bunch of money that I was pumped about. It's that Shayna Dobson girl, the Denver, I think she trains at Easton.
Yeah, Shayna
she
Dobson.
beat that other like amazing kickboxing girl.
Yep.
All right, she came out in the first round and that kickboxer just gassed.
Yep.
And then the second round, Shayna came in and just beat the crap out of her. And I think I bet $20 on her, and she was like a plus 250, 300, something like that.
Oh wow, then you caught it even earlier.
Yeah.
Because it ended up closing at even worse odds than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the biggest upset of the year.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I wish I would have waited.
Yeah, no, it ended up closing at much higher from that. But yeah, man, that was a huge upset pick on that. But, like one time, me and Yusuf were arguing one time with, I think it was the Mackenzie Dern and Randa Marcos. And I was like, bro, like she's going to submit her with an armbar in the first round. Or I said she's going to submit her in the first round. And he was like, nah, bro, I think she'll get the sub, but it'll be later. Like, it'll be second or third. Like, no, like, Randa Marcos' best attribute, all due respect to her, is her grappling, or her ability to, to get into a scramble and make things dirty. That is Mackenzie's world as soon as you get tied up.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, what happened? As soon as they got tied up and went to the ground, that armbar happened, and she just gets super creative with it, the way that she went under the underarm, and it was just cranking crazy. Like, that was a rough one. Actually, on three Brazilians, I won a lot of money on those picks alone, and it was that it was that one right there with her and Randa. Then I won a lot of money on Paige and Amanda Hebus.
Oh yeah.
I did self-admitted. I did put a little bit of money on Paige just because I thought, well, maybe she was trying to, because she was in a contract fight basically.
Yeah.
That was her last fight of her contract, and she needed to try to make a statement to have as much market value going into free agency as possible.
Yep.
But I also, in the back of my mind, I knew that Amanda Hebus is the real deal. And that's the only person who was able to get over on Mackenzie Dern so far in her career. So I thought, man, like, Amanda's the real deal. And as it turns even more, I love Amanda Hebus, bro. Like, how could you not love her energy? Like, she's
everything
just such
about
a sweetheart.
her, right? She's so exciting. She's just vibrant, has that personality, and she's a badass.
She loves chocolate. Like, I want to love something in life, period, the way that she loves chocolate.
Yeah.
The way that she loves chocolate is, like, just of a different world. But yeah, so, you know, as I digress. And then the final one was Verna Jindroba against Felice Herrig.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, I knew that one was going to be another one to where, you know, I mean, yeah, Felice is a vet, you know, but she hadn't fought in about 2 years. She hadn't fought in 2 years up to that point against someone who is just a suffocating grappler, who I feel like because she had those knee injuries, referring to Felice, that she was going to be a little bit gun-shy or a little bit tentative at times.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, to maybe hit those down blocks or hit a sprawl hard or do some very, like, explosive dynamic moves with her lower half. I don't know, like, you know as well as I know, sometimes that first time back in the fire,
you're a little hesitant.
You're a little bit gun-shy. And that split second is the difference of you either stuffing that takedown or you being brought to the canvas. And then, lo and behold, once she got there, that's exactly what happened. And then I also have to tip my cap to our Professor Brandon Royval here for... He's added a lot of money to the bank this year. So.
He's helped out big time.
Yep, absolutely.
I will definitely say I have paid 1 or 2 bills with the money I made from, you know, Brandon winning his fights. Awesome, thank you.
Oh yeah, I mean, off the Kai fight, I'm pretty sure I made my rent on that bet.
Hell yeah.
So that was a nice little chunk off of that. Yeah, I mean, just calling it for what it was. Like I knew that he was going to submit him. I knew that he was going to pull it off. But when he almost got it in the first, like halfway, like,
no, wait.
wait. 'Cause I did hedge it with just a finish bet in general, but I mean, I was so confident that it would be basically like that second round sort of scenario that's where I put the most money on.
Yeah.
And naturally, you're going to have the much higher payout.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a close one. It was like, oh shit! When he started to almost go for the sub in the first, like, pop out just for a second.
Wait a little bit longer.
Yeah. And then the fight gods spoke to me, and they delivered. They took care of your boy that night. And I also made everybody that night that was watching along with me a lot of money. Because I gave them, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what you need to do. Austin Jones being one of them. I have a video alone of Austin saying, yeah, shout out to my boy Jordan Kurtz. Put in like $25, walked away with $300 tonight.
Hell yeah.
You know, I get lucky every now and then. Oh, luck, I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself, tooting my own horn with it. But I do want to throw a quick shout out right now to the Fat Ninja Combat Gear. Shout out to my man Congo, the Fightographer. Also, you can find these at Fat Ninja Combat Gear on Instagram as well as Facebook. He has t-shirts as well as hoodies available for sale. I mean, I gotta show some love for Fat Ninja because I'm a fat ninja. And, I can't compete on a regular level with these savages like this right here. But I do my best to survive. So, I gotta rep the Fat Ninja Combat Gear. But I had to get that plug in there real quick. Josh, is there anyone that you want to throw a shout out to on the way out?
Just shout out to you, man. Thank you for giving me a platform to speak and, get myself out there. And thank you for inviting me onto the Mile High program the other day. That was amazing. I was sitting on the couch watching you guys before you even called me or texted me just because I was interested. And I was like, that's really cool. Like, I love the whole sports betting thing you do. Like, all of it is very intriguing. And I love that, you're pushing for your passion. So much respect for that, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you taking the time, especially taking the time on your birthday to sit here and converse with me for a little while about fight games, some music, some football, just everything in the mix, man. Thank you so much.
No problem, man.
What day are you fighting?
I am fighting in 2 weeks, January 29th, UFC Fight Pass. Myself versus Bruno Oliveira. I'm telling you, put the house on me, because I'm not walking out there and losing.
There you have it, folks. And where can they follow you?
Follow me at Josh Fremd MMA on Instagram and at Josh Fremd on Twitter.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh, so much. I really appreciate it, man. This is Jordan Kurtz with the Comments from the Peanut Gallery podcast. You can hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Thank you guys for following us along. You can also catch me on Wednesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. Mountain Time worldwide live on Mile High Sports Radio. You can check that out on milehighsports.com, as well as old episodes are available on demand the next day on denversportsbetting.com. Thank you guys so much. It's been an incredible ride for the last 100 episodes sitting here and talking with you folks. So
100.
Thank you all for following along. It's a big moment,
100.
100. 100. Let's go. This is Jordan Kurtz with the Comments from the Peanut Gallery podcast with my man Josh Fremd. We will see you next time.